So I have my materials right here. Okay, so this is kind of what I've come up with here. This is what we cut out, and this is what we're looking at so far. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly, step by step, how to build your own custom background for your vivarium. It's going to be very simple and cheap. So follow along, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Let's get started. If you enjoy giving your reptile the best life you possibly can, start right now by hitting subscribe. Now let's get into this video. In this video, we're going to be working on a 12 by 12 by 18. I've had a few of these laying around with actually nothing in them, and I really don't have plans to put anything in them right now, but I figured why not get some plants growing in them, get them set up as bioactive, and the first step to that is setting up the background. So I have my materials right here. These are what I'm going to be placing on the background. I don't know exactly what I'm going to use yet, but I have quite a few things here. All this stuff was found outside by me and Liam. If you're interested in seeing us finding some of these items, I'm going to put a card right there, right now. So if you want to click on that link, that'll bring you to the video of us finding these items that we're going to use in this build today. The next thing I'm going to be using is called Great Stuff Big Gap Filler. This is it right here. And that is pretty much what our background is going to be made out of. I'm going to spray a layer of that down, stick our pieces on there. You know what, let me just show you. So the first step is make sure you're starting off with a nice clean surface. I took my Exoterra and I completely cleaned out the whole inside, wiped it down, made sure it was dry. You can also take alcohol and wipe that on there. It gives your Great Stuff just a better surface to stick onto. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is start taking some of these items and kind of playing around and seeing where I want to put them before I start using the foam to put them in place permanently. Once I figure out how I'm going to place everything, I will be right back with y'all. Okay, so this is kind of what I've come up with here that I think I'm going to put in place. There's a nice tunnel in here, and this is all the way hollow as well, so they can go all the way through this one. And these sticks just give them some more surface area. So one really important thing that you cannot forget is wear gloves. Okay, I did not wear gloves my first time doing this, and this stuff is like super glue mixed with concrete. If you get it on your skin, it is very, very hard to come off. It was on me for a while, so make sure you put some gloves on. Trust me, you'll be happy you did. The next thing you do is you start applying your foam. Be generous with it. Trust me, we're going to come back and carve it down and cut some out as we go. So right now you kind of want to put on a generous layer, and then you're going to add the pieces that you already kind of pre-selected where they're going to be, and you put them in. So that one goes there. I'm also going to take a flower pot. I'm going to take one of these flower pots and kind of put it inside of it. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but it'll work. Maybe we can have some plants coming out of that one. I'm going to take this piece here and add it at an angle right there. Okay. Okay, this part I'm going to need two hands, so I will be right back. Alright, that took about 5 minutes or so, but I've got all the foam in, all of the pieces that I want attached to the background in place. And okay, I'm going to show it to you. It doesn't look very good right now. Keep that in mind that we're going to be carving out the foam, cutting it back, and doing some other stuff that I'll show you in the next clip. But, so just bear with me. Right now it looks rough, but still got a lot of work to do. So let's look at it. Okay, so starting at the bottom, here is the bottom here. working our way up. Okay, so like I said, it looks rough, but we've got our main pieces in. We've got some sticks coming out, and I added another piece over here on the side. Now let me show you from the top view. Okay, so up here, you see we've got a place right here to plant, another place right here to plant, and we're gonna carve most of this out. It was just there right now to hold these sticks in place. So like this piece of bark, you'll be able to see it. It comes all the way up, you know, to the very top. So that's it right now. So now what we're gonna do is actually let this sit for 24 hours. Okay, so I'm gonna put the camera away. I'm gonna leave it sitting here on the table, 24 hours. It should dry and cure, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what we're gonna do. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. So it's now the next day. Our background is all dry, so let me show you the next step. I've already started doing some of it, but what you're going to do is you can see that I've done it here, if I can get this to focus. See how the texture is different? You're gonna take your razor blade and you're gonna carve off the top layer. Down here you can see how smooth that is. That has not been carved yet. And the reason why you want to carve it is, one, to shape your background on how you want it. Two, the silicone that we're going to put on next will really adhere to this surface a lot better. So I'm going to start carving and I will be back with y'all when I'm finished. Okay, so this is what we cut out and this is what we're looking at so far. Alright, so I added in like a little spot to put a deli cup. We'll see how that turns out in the end, but I think I like it right there. They can climb up and eat out of it. But yeah, this is what we're looking at so far. So the next step is to get the silicone and start coating our foam. So let me get the silicone out and we will get to that. Okay, so now I've got my silicone, got it in my gun. Also, I have my gloves on. So what we're going to do is we're going to start coating the foam that you carved out with the silicone. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to start at the bottom. You just kind of, it's kind of hard to do one-handed, but I'm going to, here, let me get some silicone on there and then I'll show you what we're gonna do. Okay, so once you get some silicone on your foam, I'm gonna do like a small area at a time, but then you're gonna take your glove and just kind of rub it in everywhere. Just like this. So I took my gloves off so I can film. This part is a little bit messy, but let me show you kind of where we're at. I finished filling out the silicone in that small area, and then I put some cocoa fiber on there. So this is what it looks like so far. You know, we just did this small area at the bottom, but you can see kind of where we're going, what we're going for. So the next step is I'm gonna stand the aquarium up. Here, let me go ahead and do that now. Let me kind of see what happens here. If I stand this up, you know, of course some of it's gonna fall down. That's okay. But you can see a lot of it stayed on there. That's exactly what you want. And we're just gonna keep working our way up and do this whole side first, and then we'll work on the side over here. So I think it looks pretty good, that first part. Okay, so this is where we're at so far. We did some more on the top. It's looking pretty decent. Now we just have this little bit over here to work on, and then we will let it dry. Okay, we got that side done, and now it's time just to get the excess cocoa fiber off. I've actually let it sit for several hours now. It's been like 4 or 5 hours. So I think it should be time to get the excess cocoa fiber off, let it fall down to the bottom, and then I'm just gonna shop vac this out. So this is kind of what we're looking at so far. It's turning out all right. Okay, so I shop vac kind of the excess down at the bottom, and I shop vac the entire thing to get all the extra cocoa fiber off. The silicone is still a little wet, so I'm actually just gonna leave it alone, and I'm gonna mess with it some more tomorrow. But in the meantime, you're gonna get some extra silicone like on the edges, like you see over here. But don't worry about it. Simple razor blade just takes it right off. And so yeah, so I'm gonna work on getting some of the excess silicone cleaned off while it's not completely dry, even though it should clean off fine even once it's dry. But yeah, I'm gonna get that cleaned off, and then I'm gonna let it sit overnight, and tomorrow we should be able to get it planted. I will see you guys tomorrow, and we should get this thing finished. Okay, it's actually the same day, but many hours later. I think it's been about at least 12 hours since we put the silicone on, and so it's pretty much dry. I'm not putting any animals in it, so I'm not really worried about it being perfectly done, but I can start putting plants in it. So I put one plant in the top planter. I'm not sure what else I'm gonna put in here. I might need to do some plant shopping to find something that fits just right, but let me go ahead and show y'all kind of what we're looking at and what we've got. Okay, so here is the plant. It's rather large, but I think I like it. It gives lots of coverage, and I can show you kind of where that's planted. It's planted at right inside that planter right there. So I might hook some of these leaves, organize them a little bit, and hook them to the actual background. You can use like staples and like put the staple right around and actually hook it right into there to make the leaves kind of travel where you want them to. But I'm not sure what I'm going to plant in this one. I need something that's going to grow, like come down the wall. I don't know. We'll see. But now I'm working on the false bottom. And then I actually just cut my screen, and I'm going to put that right on top of there. Okay. And then next is just placing the substrate on top. Then we will be just about finished with this build. Okay, so we are now finished. We are actually finished. This really took just a few minutes to put the soil in. Went by really quick. But the enclosure is done, and it looks pretty good. So, total cost of everything. I had the enclosure laying around. I actually had the foam, and I had the silicone. So, but the foam's like $5 for their can. Silicone is $6 for that bottle. Most of you guys probably have cocoa fiber laying around. Otherwise, those bricks are $5 or less, and one brick would do several enclosures. The plants I had, I took them off of other plants that I had laying around, but the plants would be about $5 for both. And so fairly cheap. You can take a pretty bland enclosure and upgrade it to something that looks nice and that's natural. And as far as I've added isopods. I haven't added any springtails, but isopods I caught outside, and I've had them for about a year now, and so they're probably on like their 5th generation or maybe even more. So they're perfectly safe to put in. I've already added some in because they're just in the soil that I just added. So why don't we take a look at the enclosure and see kind of what it looks like. I'm gonna trim the plant back a little bit. It's a little much, but I do like the coverage that it provides. So let's take a look. Okay, so, sorry, table's like all messy. We've been digging around. But you can see right down here is the drainage layer. I used just little peat stones. I can't remember what they're called, little pebbles. Bought them from Walmart. The plus side of using these is that they're cheap. The downside is that they're heavy. So, but being in a small enclosure, I'm not really worried about the weight. I can still pick it up and move it around if I need to. And then the screen, I just used some little nylon screening. It's like the pet safe kind for like a screen door or a window. You can buy it at Walmart. Comes in a really large roll for like $9. So put some screen, and then the soil I made myself. It just has some coconut core, like bark pieces in there. Let's see what else I can find. Has some leaves, pine needles, a little bit of decaying plants, topsoil, has some sphagnum moss, and it has some just like rotting bark in here. And then it also has, let's see if I can find any, there's quite a bit in here, so I should be able to. Has some charcoal as well. So I've have all of that mixed together. I'm gonna add like a layer of leaf, a little leaf layer on top here. But here is what we've got. Lots of places to hide and climb. Here's this little feeding bowl right in here. Nice coverage when he's eating or whatever. See, I don't even have an animal to put in here, but this is perfect to have on standby for whenever I have like a gargoyle that's growing up that needs to be in here, or you know, come across something that I just can't live without. I'll have an enclosure set up, bioactive, ready to go. That's perfect. So yes, I spent about $10 setting this whole thing up, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now a little disclaimer. This is my first background that I've ever done. So if I can do it, you can do it. I learned a couple things along the way. Next time I'll do things a little bit differently. One thing is my flower pots that I put in there that I actually hooked into the background, I'll put those lower down, not so high. Not sure what I was thinking. So I'll definitely do something different with those, but other than that, I like it. I like how it turned out. You know, I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. I found it pretty relaxing to do. Just kind of sitting here in the quiet and kind of carve away and glue and stick things, and I actually really enjoyed making it. So I definitely see myself making more in the future, more backgrounds, and then just setting things up bioactive is also a fun thing to do, and it's awesome. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Remember, you can do this too. So go out, put a background on your enclosure. If you're thinking about doing it, let me know in the comments. If you've done it, I'd love to see a picture of it. If you can send me a message like on Facebook or Instagram or here on YouTube. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.